Got you stuck off the realness, realness. Got you stuck off the realness, realness.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We are back
we're back.
live.
It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right?
Yes, sir. It is Tuesday. It is Tuesday. I don't want to guess the day today, so I'm going to give it to you straightforward here.
And it's one of those. We both said it when we first walked in. You wasn't here when I got here. What I said, we cannot continue to try to predict the weather.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna stop making Mother Nature upset. I feel like this is my fault. So everyone in the tri-state area, if you're looking for anyone to blame for our third nor'easter, inside of 2 weeks, you can point your finger at either one of these two guys, but I'll take it. I'll take the full brunt of it.
Only
I
because
decided to say I believe that there would be at least one more major storm before this.
You think
winter
one
was
more after
officially
this?
up. No, man. You know what? Honestly, I think we will get one more major snow event before like winter's completely up. I think all bets are off at this point. I said one. I definitely think Mother Nature's rearing her great ugly head and showing us,
And it's the kind of snow that smacks you right in the face.
Yeah, smacks you right in the face. You saw my face when I walked in, man. My glasses were all wet. My beard, all of my beard on my hat, my coat.
It's not coming down. It's coming
It's
forward.
coming sideways and forward. And it's not like powdery snow. It's like heavy, wet snow again.
That shit was upsetting.
Yeah.
Especially for people that wear glasses.
Yeah. And then, you're breathing heavier because, it takes more effort walking in the snow because you can't really walk regularly. You got to step like a guy, take the chop steps in the snow to be safe. And
I'm still look at it.
Look at that out there.
For all the people that are watching around the world, some of you have never seen snow before.
There you go.
There's people that haven't seen snow.
You say that funnily, man. When I was working at MySpace,
It's depressing to look at.
there was
actually.
a girl from Southern California who had never seen snow until she moved out here to the East Coast and got hit with a blizzard. That was the first time dealing with snow in her whole life.
It was like when my family first came out here from Puerto Rico. I remember this was like 15 years ago maybe. I remember they went to the roof when it started snowing, and I'd never seen grown people be like kids before. It was just
it's an experience, man. I've had people. I mean, like that was
that
a person
we
I knew
take for
personally.
granted.
Like I've seen people, like I've met people, like at work in the city, obviously where I used to work. I used to meet people from all over the world, who it was their first time in New York experiencing this type of cold and like that. But knowing someone personally like that and seeing their first time ever experiencing it, and having them be like, yo, is it really gonna be as bad as people say? It's gonna, I guess like more than less than anything, man, have something fun to watch, man. Make sure you have booze or anything if that's what you do. Do take it serious if it says flood or anything. Pay attention, but for the most part, man, enjoy yourself. Like it's gonna be fun. It's gonna look really nice and pretty when it's falling early before it gets touched. I was like, in about 12 hours after the cars have been in it, when it's plowed, it's all dirty and muddy.
It's gonna look like gravy.
Yeah, it's gonna look like and not like the gravy you want. It's gonna look like jailhouse gravy, like the bush gravy. Like that's what like slush looks like after a couple of days in New York City streets.
Shit.
And then it gets the salt accumulation with it, and then it gets that brown color. It gets that weird brown, gray, black. Like it's like 3 different shades it can be. So you never know, man, but it's different. But
every morning we have our routines, and part of my routine is I'll go and I'll get my coffee and I'll smoke my cigarettes. But today I kept a clean palate because we have our second day in a row in studio guest.
Live in studio guest.
And he also has a famous name. We're gonna bring him on momentarily. But Chaz Greene, co-founder of Trill Tea.
Trill Tea.
So we're gonna try out some tea today.
Yes, we're gonna try out some maca tea.
Matcha.
I said it wrong again. Oh my!
He can't win.
And I just hit my teeth on the mic. I was hoping that one would have got away.
You really
got it wrong again.
That's about 5 times already, live on the show.
Matcha.
It's matcha tea.
Matcha tea.
It's not that I don't drink tea. I've been brainwashed with brisk and Arizona's.
Lipton brisk iced tea here.
It's not a. It's almost as poisonous as the Pepsis they're sitting next to.
It is. About the same amount of sugar in it. Just really no carbonated acid. And it is a little bit carbonated, just not as heavily as sodas.
You heard there was some places trying to sell Arizonas for more than $1.
Yes, in Arizona, stop shipping to them. Arizona specifically sets their, like, you agree to it, and it's not supposed to be
It's
$1.
written on the
It's
bottle.
supposed to be 99 cents.
It's not even supposed to be $1.
No, we all just give up the dollar and the penny willingly. It's supposed to be 99 cents. They said that's why we sell them. We make the bigger sizes to sell for more. That size is always 99 cents. That's their model. And they told those places, you know, if you want to continue to do that, we'll just stop shipping you our product and you can't sell it anymore.
God damn.
And there's like, I don't think there's like a go-between for Arizona. Maybe like there might be smaller distributors, but I'm pretty sure if you get blacklisted, you don't want to be as a distributor. If your main distributor tells you, hey, they're cut off, don't sell to them. I want to keep selling to them if they threaten to cut me off.
You know, when I first Googled Trill Tea, the website description popped up, and it's a lifestyle tea brand by millennials for millennials. So I need to Google what a millennial is exactly.
We're millennials.
Well, I know we're millennials, but I wanted to get the actual definition. A person reaching young adulthood in the early 21st century.
I think the actual like age range is born after 1980.
Born after 1980?
And it ends at 2000. Like anyone who was born before the millennium, but like grew up in it.
I don't know. I'll say some of these 2000 babies. I don't want credit for them, man. I like to cut it off like around 95, 96. Some of these other kids, I don't want to be too harsh, but
they classify different generations. Like, which generation is the baby boomer? Like
those would be. I feel like those are like. I guess maybe in the 70s.
They're like the 60s.
Like the 60s. A person born in the years following World War II. So I thought they was making it seem like millennials was a diss to us.
It is supposed to be.
But how if it's just a classification of when we were born?
Because it's a way of saying now you can't really say these young people. I mean, but what do you call like the generation now? What are they? Like I call them like the iPhone generation.
I call them assholes.
I call them the iPhone generation.
You can't just say iPhone though, because then you're sticking it to all the other phone companies that they're pretty prominent too.
I think they are actually called the iGen.
The iGen?
Yeah.
It's you know iPhone. There are a ton of smartphone.
iGeneration. No, this ain't it.
Generation Z.
Yeah, the iGen and Generation Z are the same.
Is a demographic cohort after millennials?
Yeah, the kids after
So
us.
millennials aren't even the latest ones.
No, we've been replaced with the iPhone generation.
Generation Z?
Generation Z. And I guess they're really telling us with these kids eating Tide Pods a month later and then now want to change the world that we
Now
really might just be at the end.
World War Z makes a lot more sense now.
Oh, man. But, yeah.
Because they're all fucking zombies.
Yeah, but, yes, man. We have,
We gotta try out this tea, man.
Yes. We got to have some matcha tea. Matcha tea
You
today.
finally got it right.
Yes.
Or is it? Or I was about to say, dang, you got me
I've had
fucked up,
this
man.
right all along, man. We were about to, my good buddies Jack Johnson and Jimmy Jamison were about to make an appearance.
So, yeah, we have Chaz Greene in the studio, so we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll try out some Trill tea.
Yes, and Jack Johnson and Jimmy Jamison will they won't be here.
This coffee is delicious.
No, I don't really drink coffee. This is what you come out with. This coffee's an empty cup. That's what you come out the gate with on me, man?
I mean, it is coffee for music people. And
Music for coffee people.
A good coffee will wake you the fuck up in the morning. Remember,
You know what else will wake you up in the morning? Good Morning Bushwick, hosted by us two, Bud and
Butter
Roach.
Roach.
I mean, here at First Live.
Where is First Live?
Bushwick, baby. You're
Take-
killing me, bro. You're killing me right now. Like
Where
First
are we
Live
from?
Bushwick. We're from Bushwick. We are Bushwick.
Pick up your damn cup and pretend you're drinking the coffee.
Here
Do
at
it
First
again.
Live
No,
Bushwick.
Do it again. Do it again.
You know what else will wake you up in the morning? Good Morning Bushwick.
Good morning.
Right now, we cutting a promo or we live?
No. Where can people go to find out what's happening in Bushwick?
BudandRoach.com and
And-
FirstLive.us.
This coffee's delicious.
Yes, it most certainly is. looking at it like.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back.
We are back on Good Morning Bushwick, and we have the man himself in studio with us here, Chaz Greene. How you doing today, Chaz, man? How you doing this morning?
Tilt that up for him. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm feeling great.
There we go.
It's a little snowy out, but I'm feeling great.
It's a little snowy, but this is great tea weather, man.
Yes, sir.
it is, and you know, it's also we have to touch on the name because yesterday we had on a famous name
We
too.
had Chris Day on.
I said that sounds such like Hollywood. I see that on the poster. Has anyone ever told you? You mentioned that when I was talking about your name earlier, you said that you didn't like it in the beginning.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It was just because when I was growing up, you had the people I looked up to were like Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson, and they had sneakers. And if I wanted to be a basketball player, Chaz Greene wasn't gonna cut it as a sneaker brand.
I don't know, man. I
think the Chaz
I think
threes.
the Chaz's would have worked, man.
The
Really,
Chaz would
you heard
work.
this before show, man. It worked as like the Roger Goodell calling your name down, like if you got drafted. That's the name that works, man. That name had marketability, brother.
We tried all different scenarios before we came live.
There was Chaz Greene works a lot of ways, man. And now, I mean, co-founder of Trill Tea, man.
Yeah.
So, how Trill Tea come to be about, man?
It actually came because I wasn't actually initially a tea drinker. I was working at my old job. I used to work with people with Down syndrome. And at the job, I was just really sick one day. And I'd been trying to launch other businesses. Just kind of kept stumbling, just, different mistakes, and couldn't launch one. And eventually, I was at the job really sick. All we had was Lipton at the job, and Lipton is obviously garbage. And for whatever reason, we didn't have sugar or honey or lemon juice, anything to actually lighten up the...
Just straight Lipton.
Yeah, just
Straight Lipton, man. Like, deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And after like just taking a sip, I was like, oh man, this is horrible. And like I said, I'd never been a tea drinker like that. And I thought to myself, man, why has nobody done this better? Why has nobody actually made flavors people would want? And I just started looking into the industry for about 2 years. I went to like, expos and took tea classes and courses and literally just learned the industry myself, looked at what tea brands were out, and I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it in my way. I'm going to do it in a way that resonates with me and people I think it would relate to as people who are not even necessarily tea drinkers. And that's where you get trill tea, and you get steeped in culture, and you get that whole premise of, for millennials, by millennials type of thing.
Shit, steeped in culture. I like that one, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You said they have tea classes?
Yeah, there's one of the things I've learned, like working on business, like this business and just different things, is there's an association for everything, right? So anything you get into, there's an association. You go learn and take classes or whatever, and there's tea classes, and obviously in America, tea is increasing, but it's still, I think, like the 6th most consumed drink in America, but it's the 2nd in the world.
Yeah.
Only behind water.
Tea's big in like so many other places. It's kind of, I hate to admit it, man. It's kind of like soccer in the U.S. It's huge. Soccer is the most popular sport in the world, except America, except the United States of America.
Yeah, because we're all about marketing and branding.
I was just about to say,
thing.
absolutely. I was just about to say that.
America's game, America's pastime.
We're the
It's
only
America's
place
sport.
where everyone from other countries could come and live here,
they have to
and
come
then
here
those
to play
same
the-
people would hate immigrants.
Yeah, that's about right. But it's interesting because a lot of the tea stuff really is, like you said, I tell people all the time that tea was almost like the first ever lifestyle beverage brand, whatever you want to call it. It just hasn't been modernized for like current times and like lifestyle and culture. And not in a gimmicky way, but in a way that actually literally is the way we live modern
Yeah,
days.
you look at like old kung fu movies and just martial arts films. You see the grandmasters always drinking tea and just eating white rice and.
Yeah.
Look at every time you see something, they're doing something in like England or somewhere in like Britain, so it's tea and biscuits or something.
Yeah.
Tea and crumpets.
Now, when you go and actually shop for ingredients, because I don't know how it works. I don't know if it's like Lipton is putting out ingredients or some other brand is putting out the ingredients. Is there a place to go where you just get raw tea leaf and then you just start?
Well, it depends on like how you actually run your business. So there's some people who actually will source it. So there are people, friends I have in Texas and California that actually like, literally they will mix it up themselves and and everything, and like they obviously keep it pretty local. But there are some people who they have like Lipton. Lipton isn't even actually tea leaves. A lot of people don't know that it's actually tea dust. And the reason why that's important is because what they do is they have places out wherever, like out of the country, where it was tea leaves at one point, but what they do is they grind it down really fine because it's cheaper to ship as well as to sell. So if you're drinking Lipton, a lot of times you're drinking like the Celestial Teas. If you're drinking anything that comes in those little square bags, it's tea dust.
It's also easier to mix other garbage in with it.
Exactly,
when it's dust.
absolutely. And that's kind of been the thing that over the last few years they've been talking about with Lipton and the different brands, them mixing different things in there. And the reason why that's also important is because tea leaves need to expand. That's why with Trill Tea, I actually have biodegradable tea bags that we get from Japan, where the leaves can actually expand at pyramids. So it's not some little square thing where it's just trash. Yeah,
It's that weird mucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's
So what do you have in this clear bowl right here?
okay. So here I actually have the true blueberry matcha.
I was gonna say when you open that, I felt like I smelled blueberries, and I didn't want to like seem like I was sitting up here tripping balls next with the blueberries. 'Cause no one had blueberries. I didn't see blueberries, but I did smell a very distinct aroma of blueberries.
No, absolutely.
Now I'm smelling it.
Nah, I smelled it like when you opened that.
When I leaned over. I
Yeah,
was
well,
smelling
that was actually a really big thing for me because matcha, interestingly enough, like it's very grassy. I don't really like that term because tea people use that term. They say, "Oh, it's grassy." What does that even mean? But yeah, no. So the reason why I launched with a blueberry matcha was because, like I said, I wasn't necessarily a tea drinker. So a big thing for me was anything I launched and released with, it had to taste good. Like that was a really big thing for me, right? And it also had to taste good for other people. So with the true blueberry matcha, it really it's just a differentiation from traditional matcha. And what's interesting with like a lot of cafes, they're making traditional matcha with lattes. And the only reason they're making them in lattes is because matcha tastes nasty by itself. Like traditional matcha tastes nasty by itself. The problem is there are certain properties in matcha that are good, but when you add the milks and the sugar and everything, that turns into something else. Now you just turn into like McDonald's or something. So yeah. So yeah.
high calorie.
So I wanted to kind of like I wanted to close that gap. I had a blog post on the Trill Tea website where I was talking about how like I grew up on like quarter waters and like the little freezer pops. I'm
The
like,
most poisonous thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up on that, but I was like, so regardless, like I need my stuff to be healthy, but it still has to taste good. I can't just jump out the window.
Yeah, man. I mean, you think about what we grew up on, man, and the fact that some of us are even like, man, because you see some people that it made them sicker, man. Like there are people like I even saw something, man, and I forgot where I was reading that last week, and they were talking about like these dollar stores, man, and like how people go there, and like you'll see people do their food shopping there, and just because the price of it is cheap, you can get these quick microwavable meals. But they said like these foods, these processed foods that have these cancer-causing ingredients, stuff that makes you sick, and they said like these dollar stores have the highest concentration of them, and for some people it's just it's terrible. That's not an option. Eat better.
That was funny because on the bus ride over here, I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about how people say that eating meat is bad for you, and it's actually eating processed meat that's bad for you. Like if you go out there and you hunt your own food, then it's gonna be good. I think they call it free range.
Yeah.
But you look at a lot of the stuff that's in like 99-cent stores, stuff that I used to buy when I had the bachelor pad and all that. If the shelf life could last more than a year, then the chances are it's not good for you. Like how much how much healthy things you think are in the ravioli?
Absolutely, that was a killer. Brisk to tea is like Sunny D to orange juice.
Yeah,
like that was just drink. That's not even. That's not even.
Like you're right, and it's
Sugar,
crazy.
water,
For a
purple.
long time, man, I couldn't drink regular orange juice in the morning. It's too much acid. It would mess my stomach. So it's either like apple juice or Sunny D. Like.
And Sunny D, when you grind your teeth after you drink Sunny D, it feels like sandpaper.
Film,
Like
yep.
what the hell?
Like you feel that
Absolutely.
weird film. Like I've gotten off of Sunny D like as an adult. I still like it like sometimes if I go away and like yo breakfast juice, like let's get some Sunny D, man.
Yep.
Let's just do it.
And parents encourage that too, right? Like it's like
'Cause
the
they fall
90s
for the
was all,
marketing.
like the marketing in the 90s.
The marketing is like, hey,
Yeah.
just as much vitamin C. Vitamin C fortified. Good enough for me.
Like what Chappelle said, and there's the little black kid in the back of the commercial. He's like, I want that drink.
That was a really big thing. Like, I pay attention to like a lot of that, just especially like branding and marketing. And like one of the big things, like I said, I talked about like steeped in culture being like kind of a tagline. One of the big things for me is okay, how can I make tea cool essentially, and cool to a point where even the youth are going to want to drink that. similar to what like Beats by Dre did for headphones.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do that for tea, and what that does now, you have a bunch of people that are making different decisions just because it's cool now, you know, and it's just not killing, and you don't have to pay $200-$300 to buy in, so that's important too.
That's funny because we was talking about yesterday whether or not, you know, not whether or not, but the fact that celebrities have this power that once they put something out, because we made a comment about why don't celebrities recycle? Like if a celebrity goes on his Instagram and makes it cool to recycle.
If celebrities made it cool,
that?
like if a Drake or a Khaled or somebody who on Snapchat has tens of millions of followers, one of the Jenners or Kardashians, said, "Hey guys, let's be more energy efficient. Let's be green. Let's recycle." And they made it cool. You know how many people would start following and recycling and Earth Day and all these things that you want people to be involved in, but now people would just willingly like involve themselves because a celebrity told them, "Hey, it's cool."
Absolutely, but that's very much American culture, right?
That is American culture without a doubt to a T.
American culture, and it's sad because you got all these celebrities and they would attach themselves to a liquor company before a tea company.
Yeah, but what's funny is that like it's gonna change. It's gonna change. Not saying that they're gonna stop doing that, but like with the work I do, whether it be by the time I get there or somebody just try to rip off the idea of drill tea, eventually people are going to realize that tea can be, podcasters can drink tea, singers drink tea before going to the studio, comedians drink tea. Like, it just has to be positioned in a way where it actually fits and is branded, not just a half-naked woman on Instagram showing the
tea bagged.
Yeah. Like,
Want to get tea bagged?
Yeah, that's actually
Trill tea.
Yeah, it actually fits. Like, and you know how you can tell?
Wearing nothing but a tea bag.
Like, you know how you can tell? You'll see celebrities actually drinking tea occasionally. And what's interesting about that, usually celebrities don't show anything unless they're like sponsored or whatever. And these people just drink tea. There's no tea brand saying, "Oh, let me sponsor you." No, these people just drinking tea. I saw a picture of Quavo from the Migos. He was drinking tea. There was no brand. He just drink tea. It's just what it is. So that's just closing the gap. That's what I tell people. I just close the gap between the product and the.
I mean, but everyone does drink tea, man. How many people do we know? Like they say before they go on stage, they need tea or something like that. You know.
But they don't consider themselves tea drinkers. That's
because there's a stigma with
absolutely.
it.
I don't know. Like, why does tea? Like, why is there stigma on tea drinkers? Not stigma on coffee drinkers. What's the stigma on tea drinkers?
I'm gonna tell you what I think it is personally. I personally believe coffee has been turned into a synonym over the course of decades with like hard work, an American way of like get up, work hard, and grind, and so people just kind of like put the two together.
Start your day off right with coffee.
Yeah, we had Folgers,
whatever.
Yeah,
I was about to say
Folgers in your cup.
Absolutely. But now people are saying that it may, like, depending on the coffee you're having, what you're putting in it, like it may not be the best bet. And they're like millennials are actually starting to surpass with tea, starting to surpass coffee with tea, like consumption. So like that, it's not out of the realm of thought. And I think the younger generation, I think, is gonna kind of keep that going.
I mean, when you think of cleansing the body, I mean, the tea is always brought up, but it's one of those things that, for me, when I see people drinking tea, those people more often than not are people that are focused like on opening their pineal gland and actually, meditating and living healthy. And coffee drinkers, they don't have, like, I'm a coffee drinker and I'm probably the most unhealthy person in the room.
Yeah.
So.
But coffee, then, like, Chaz just said, man, a lot of people load it up with sugar, a lot of, different creamers and stuff.
The amount of sugar that I put in the coffee, it's insane, bro. And
I'm
staring at it every day. I'm the one that makes my coffee.
Yeah. People don't take that into account. People don't take stuff like that into account. Like when everybody's on these, like when Starbucks does these weird Frappuccino flavors, and like you see the amount of sugar in those drinks, like, and people just pound like, oh, third one today, like, diabetes in a way.
I think that's gonna be like, people like always give me a hard time with this, but I always tell people, like, I think that's gonna be like the end of Starbucks, like coming out with those drinks, because that's not what they were even like known. They weren't known for, like, okay, we're gonna give you like the unicorn, whatever, like that.
Unicorn,
that's a problem.
The zombie, this, the shit. They're like, nah,
that's
man.
a problem. But I kind of
they try too hard.
Those were kids. Like it was for adults who wanted that childlike. Oh my God! And you know what drove it to? Social media. I tell people all the time. There was never, on social media, there was never such a thing as a gender reveal party. And now
we had no idea what the hell that was.
It's essentially 2 baby showers. People were getting duped into 2 baby showers, and it's a thing now because of social media. And everyone has to like play catch up and keep up with everyone.
Look at that handcrafted.
Yeah,
it's even handcrafted on stage.
Trying logo out of here.
Let's get
This is,
that Poland Spring.
They call it the Chasen, the whisk, the matcha whisk. So it's a Japanese matcha ceremony, where literally you just you put the matcha in, you pour a little bit of water, usually about like around 175, 106 degrees. It doesn't have to be exact. That's just me being like crazy about it. But you put that in, you whisk it a little bit, you add a little bit more water, and then you just kind of mix it up again.
The blueberries, man. I smell the blueberries.
Thank you. I actually wanted to call it Smurfberry at first, but
Smurfberry.
that would have been a problem. But
Yeah.
True Blueberry was actually based off the Jordan, the threes.
Yeah.
The Jordan threes, yes, sir. True Blue threes.
It's like a whisk. Are you meant to whisk it or?
Yeah, this is a whisk. This is a matcha whisk. So this is a Chasen. So it's just a matcha whisk. That's all it is. So you whisk it in M shapes. They say M or W. That's all you do with that. And you really break it up. So with matcha.
Like vigorously or lightly?
Lightly is fine. Lightly is fine. Doesn't as long as you do it for a little bit.
This
And matcha, all it really is just crushed green tea. So with with green tea, you'll have leaves or whatever. Literally, all it is just a crushed version of that, and it gives you about a third the caffeine of a cup of coffee. And the reason why is because you're actually drinking the powder. You're drinking the actual leaf. You're not steeping it through anything. So, but it doesn't give you the
So
jitters.
you're getting everything out
You're getting
of it.
everything, but there's something called L-theanine, and with L-theanine, it's just a calming energizer, right? So when you drink it, you have to worry about feeling like
Yeah,
kinda
man.
weird. You gotta stop
My
twitching and
first
stuff.
couple days with coffee last week, man. It took me a while, man. Like I was before my body adjusted. Like, hey, man, let's.
I'll pour some more water in there.
That was funny though.
But yeah, so
'Cause
like
you
pretty
was wired for a
Yeah,
while.
I was wired, man. Like I was like, yo, like I'm a nap taker, man. I'll say it right now. No, I take naps. It's nothing I love. One of my favorite pastimes is sleeping. And
Well, that's a millennial
and
thing.
my first try with
That's
coffee.
not the Roach. I think I want Roach to try that first. I know he's not there.
Man. I'm nervous.
I don't know, man. I smell them blueberries, man.
Is it really hot?
No, it should be.
And how's that going down for you?
Taste the blueberries.
Taste the blueberries.
I taste the blueberries, ladies and
You
gentlemen.
taste the blueberries. The blueberries have landed,
Let's see. Where is the
and
tablespoon?
It tastes good. For tea, it tastes good.
I appreciate I appreciate that.
for tea it tastes good.
I appreciate that.
Do you are you urged to dip your sandwich in it?
No.
What's cool? What's cool with that too is that you can put it into like shakes if you go into the gym. If you can put it into really anything. I used to put it in Chobani. I used to put in all kind of stuff, honestly.
Man.
You know?
So it doesn't have to just be like a tea. You can.
No, it doesn't.
Man.
It doesn't. That's what's really cool about it. So you can actually transport it and all that good stuff.
Morning.
She's
And,
back. Our live studio audience member.
Thank you.
I'm gonna let it cool off a little bit, but
Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
Can smell the blueberries, man.
it was.
And,
You know I love fresh fruit, man.
This was. I was nervous about today.
I
bro.
know you were. I know
I
you
was
were.
nervous. I woke up.
He's a coffee guy. He was like classic cappuccino, man.
No, absolutely. But that was like I said, that was a big thing. Was for me. Like I said, I wasn't a huge tea drinker, so I knew that like whatever I launched, like there had to be flavor to it. There had to be something that people could really resonate with, even if they weren't tea drinkers. So a lot of the work I do is spent positioning it in a way where people who are not even tea drinkers would at least try it, because when they try it, they're like, oh man, this is
This is
completely
tea?
different.
Like, yeah, man.
Sexy black bag, right?
Yes,
and,
man.
oh no, our packaging like in general, like that's like just so normal. But I don't know if you saw the site and actually looked.
Oh,
through
I
it,
did
but
see it. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely put time to
Matter
like,
of
just
fact,
the
let's
packaging.
let's
and
pull up the
design.
Yeah,
website.
pull up the website, man. Let's show the people online the website. Man.
So, can we get a shot? Yeah. You can actually buy the tea on the website as well. You can see the shopping cart on the top right. But look at this beautiful selection of tea. I love the triangles. Like
Nice.
it makes
Nice. Appreciate it. I mean that's like the importance of, like I said, the tea bags, because those are biodegradable tea bags, so the tea can expand in the bag to actually give you like really great flavor.
see this right here.
That's the blueberry magic.
That's what we're
Blueberry
drinking
punch.
right now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what other flavors do you have?
Currently, so there's lemon courage, there's nuts and apples, so far goji, and the true blueberry matcha. We sold out of ginger Hendrix and OG Phoenix berry. Yeah.
Ginger Hendrix.
Yeah, if you go to the shopping cart, you can actually see some of the stuff. Like right there, you can right there shop the collection. Like
Shop the
Shop the
yeah,
collection.
you should be able to click on
Boom. Oh yeah.
So
These are reasonable prices.
Nuts
These
and
aren't
apples.
prices that
Yeah, I
will
thought it
set
was
people
gonna
back.
be like
I'm trying not to. I'm trying to find that delicate balance of everything. So the goal of Trill T as a business and as a brand, I tell people is to essentially inspire a junior high school version of myself, right? And what that means is when I was in junior high school, I'm 29. So when I was in junior high school, there were two things I did. I used to go to school that was mixed, so you had all different types of people in it, right? And one day I heard there was an Asian girl, and she says, "Oh, she wanted Gucci or Louis Vuitton or something, right?" I said, "Oh, I can get you that. I can get you that," because I knew I was going to my neighborhood. I was like, "I can get you that." So I got it for her, right? Then a bunch of the other girls, just in general, like all the different girls from school, like, "Oh, well, we want stuff too." So I'd pick it up for them. Eventually, over the course of doing this for like a couple months or something, making like a lot of money, I found out that they were fake. So I stopped doing it, right? So I stopped doing it, right? Around that time as well, I was a huge Allen Iverson fan, right? Huge. Like, I'm talking about braids, the clothes, sneakers, played basketball nonstop, right? And eventually what I realized over the course of time was if a brand and an entrepreneur gave me the same feeling that Allen Iverson gave me back in junior high school, I would have just stayed an entrepreneur from junior high school. I would just got into different things, you know? So essentially the brand is all based around the idea of creating that lifestyle that would give me a modern day version feeling of what Allen Iverson did to people when I was in junior high school.
Shit.
So that's essentially like why.
That's
everything is-
interesting.
yeah,
That is,
thanks,
man.
thanks.
I don't think anyone's ever gave us that elaborate of an answer as to why they got into anything or why they want to keep moving forward in it, man. And I think, like we were even saying that like the other day last week, and we said we are going to discuss it on air, man, is what would you tell like a 15, 14-year-old version of yourself, man, if you could? And I don't know what I would tell me, man. Probably, I mean, make all the mistakes you're going to make, kid, and you'll still be okay at the end of the day. Or, you know, what do you tell yourself young?
At 15 years old, I'd probably tell myself that in a few months my mom was gonna throw away all my Pokemon cards so to find a better hiding spot.
Hey, I sold Pokemon cards too, man.
I was heavy on the Pokemon
Pokemon
cards.
was real.
I had about 5,000, 6,000 comic
Damn.
books.
That
It was all in the trash.
There's no sugar in it? Yeah, there's a little bit of sugar cane, but it's not like, you know, it's all healthy though.
But it's ground.
It's ground, yeah, it's mixed in. So it's not like,
So it's
you know,
not like
adding,
you didn't
you don't
add
have to add,
sugar
yeah,
to this.
you don't have to add anything else to it.
Oh my
Like, it's
God,
cool.
this is amazing.
That's cool, thank you.
It's very
Thank you for
good.
that.
No,
Thank
it
you
is
for that.
good.
Thank you for that.
Oh my God, this is delicious.
And it's,
Yeah.
like I said, it's made to not have to add the milk and all the extra stuff.
Oh my God.
I gotta say, I was a little bit scared when you handed me the cup.
Nah, man. I know they wouldn't steer me wrong.
This looks like Ninja
Jeez,
Turtle.
this is delicious.
Yeah, green drinks used to scare me too. Like they kind of like green in general. It's like,
Yeah, man. This looks
What
like
is
one
this?
of,
It's
this
too
looks like
healthy.
one of those weird, super healthy like
Yeah.
wheatgrass shots.
yeah,
but
yeah.
It tastes phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah, I like how the.
That's good, man. That's
Appreciate
good tea. That's some
Appreciate
good matcha.
So you have damaged box
Yeah.
teas too. So
It's a
they get them at a discounted price.
Yeah, I literally just started that like probably like 3 days ago, just because I had them and I was like, man, what am I gonna do with these? And I knew I wasn't gonna sell them to people, so I wasn't gonna sell them at full price. I was like, but I have to, you know, because everything with the business is self-funded, so I put all the money up and went through all the sourcing and everything. So I was like, I have to get them out, and I figured that'd be one way to go.
Entrepreneurial spirit, man. That's how a lot of big brands do it, man. Clearance. That's why there's
Yeah,
a clearance out,
absolutely.
man.
Absolutely.
Something that is unnoticeable to your eye got that marked down to a price.
Yeah, and just learning the business, honestly, because a lot of what I'm trying to do hasn't necessarily been done. So a lot of it is trial and error, right? Like I have a shirt on there that we had for sale, and the design didn't even come out the way I wanted to, but the premise was when people were wearing like those tour shirts a couple years ago, that's when I actually released that, because I'm like, there's no other tea brand that's gonna even understand culture, like just where things are at. So I tend to tell people that if Coca-Cola owns the word happiness as a brand, Trill Tea, the aim is to own the word culture. So we have to know what the new thing is. We have to know literally everything. I spend the majority of my time, I honestly spent with like 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds to kind of see where they're at. I'm 29, and I'm like kind of around and just hanging with them, just learning and building.
So are they Generation Z?
They you know, it's weird because I think they're technically Generation Z, but what's interesting is when you actually hang out with them, their reference points are like incredible, right? So I'll give you a great example. My creative director, he just turned 20. He was mentioning Eddie Murphy's Party All the Time the other day.
Jeez.
And I'm like,
How does a 20-year-old know that
yeah,
song?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're talking about, you know, and that's, I think a lot of
the
times.
YouTube generation.
always
though.
up
Yeah,
just
YouTube helps a lot. But what's
YouTube.
interesting is a lot of times, you know, it's easy to like for us to give them a hard time, whatever. Just like the older people can give us a hard time occasionally. But when you actually around them, you see, oh wow, this is a little bit different than what I thought. Like I always pay attention to, I guess, culture and like I guess the zeitgeist, whatever the zeitgeist dictates. And I feel like for our generation, at least from what I gather from it, a lot of it to me, I felt like I felt was like the bling bling era, where like it was kind of about the look, right? It was kind of about. Whereas I feel like with their generation, they're okay with slumming it. They're okay with like, you know, they're like most of them will sew. They cut and sew their own clothing. I'm like, nobody in my generation was cut and sewing anything. I was like, they weren't doing that not at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. You know, they weren't even really photographers from where Wisco to people I saw. You know, but now they're doing that stuff so young that
they're starting young, man.
Yeah.
Like they have, I think technology has a big part to play in this, man. They
They're
have
born
access
with
to so much
iPods.
more easier than like we got it. We got a lot of stuff later in life.
Absolutely.
Where
Absolutely.
as opposed to kids younger now getting exposed to it young. You know how many kids now know how to open an iPhone 1, 2 years old, slide it open, start an app.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
So I didn't want to, bring this question to the forefront without actually verifying that you had some affiliation with it. I see on the blog you listed a marijuana company is listed in the U.S. Stock Exchange for the first time.
Yeah,
so are you a marijuana enthusiast?
All right, so I don't smoke or drink. I'm going to throw that out there now. I don't smoke or drink, but I know that people do. And one of my big things, like I said, of understanding culture is knowing I don't want to give you. I tend to help you with what I do with my work is to aim at the people at home, who you are at your house.
yeah.
It's not because I think that when I look at most of the brands I see, 99% of them, they're not actually true. I tell people it's kind of like the Brady Bunch type of feel. They give you like a, you turn on television, you see, it's like, everything is like, it's like, hey, yeah. And my thing is like, no, I want to.
My life is great.
Yeah, essentially, if I had to put it down to words, I'd say I want Trill Tea to be kind of like, I want it to be the vigilante of the tea industry. I want it to be almost the Vice of, teas. So a lot of what I do is really about not shock and awe, but really just know this is what's happening. So as I introduce other
It's
things.
real life, man. Like
yeah,
I mean,
exactly, yeah.
If people would have,
And people smoke and drink. People do that. That's a real person. That's not like some.
yeah, people do it, man. I think I find it crazy that with all that's known, the bad that alcohol and tobacco do to you, those are considered legal, substances, and marijuana, a plant which has no like real adverse effects that can be documented scientifically.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a crime. A plant's a crime, and
It's
always
a crime.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane to me.
Are there any marijuana infused teas out there?
There are. It's funny. I have a lot of friends that tell me you should do it. I'm like, I don't even know the legal ramifications of that yet. I'm like,
At least in New York State, man. If you were like in Colorado or Washington, man, you'd be good money, man. But New York State for that reason. And you know what? I think it's time we start to believe in the truth, man, and through this voting process, man. I think we should start. We should get someone on the midterms, man. Someone who's willing to drive our initiatives, man. We need to get it legalized, man. After reading through that whole report, like New York City consumes the most marijuana by volume of any city in the world, in the entire world. If we taxed it, they would make like $180 million extra dollars in revenue. And with all the problems with public housing, with the MTA, with the streets, with the schools, with all the problems, I think $180 million extra dollars might go some sort of distance. I'm just gonna throw that out there, man. But
if it's used for the right things.
Yeah, if it's used for the right things, and that's just taxed at a normal rate. If you want to tax it at New York City rate, which people pay a little more, like I'm pretty sure you make a little more.
And it comes down to distribution and redistribution.
Absolutely.
So I was reading about, yesterday we was talking about Toys R Us, how it's closing down. There was an article saying that Toys R Us is closing its doors, but they thanked the CEO with $1 million or a couple $1 million of a bonus.
That's about right.
Like, how do you do that?
How do you do that? You're firing all these people with jobs with kids. Probably not getting severance packages.
Not at all.
Probably, any who has accrued sick time, vacation time, not going to be allowed to use that now. And it's just, hey, your last day is this day.
Yep.
Out the doors.
Absolutely.
As I was actually telling Erica while she was sitting there yesterday, I was my first real job out of high school was at Toys R Us. And
I remember.
It turned me on to the real world, man.
I remember.
It's the reason I started drinking. I'll be honest, man. I really wasn't a heavy drinker. I drank a few times in high school, a couple sips here and there. But I did not become a heavy drinker until I started working at Toys R Us. And that place just beat the spirit out of me, man. And then couple that with doing security where I was for the last 10 years. And I really told people, man, I was turned off to working a regular job, man. Like ever again. Like I told people, like I don't ever want to work hard to make someone rich again.
Absolutely.
Like to give them that much hard work and honesty and get nothing from it.
Yeah.
I'll never do that again in my life. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I feel like the younger generation is definitely like caught on to that because I don't think people speak enough about because I almost call like the younger generation like the post-recession kids almost because we saw things were a certain way before the recession. Then once the recession hit, pretty much everything changed. You saw stores closing down. You saw people with just different mentalities. You saw people losing jobs after.
We didn't see the recession our parents saw in the 80s or 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Like we saw like recession light, and like us sitting up here, we saw how bad it got for a little bit.
Yeah.
Kids might not really have that recollection. They could say levels were depression level era bad, but we didn't experience that.
Yep.
But
because we had the internet, and with the internet, you can make money without even leaving your house. You can make money in China from New York.
Absolutely.
So that's when it comes down to when you have big box brands like Amazon, where they have such a powerful affiliate program that for you punch in a few codes on the website and you just upload 5,000 products that have to do with whatever it is that your blog is about. Then you can make money. And kids nowadays, they know these things. They know that you can make money anywhere. You can make money on your phone.
You can do a lot, man. And I think this generation, man, there's a lot of them caught on, man. A lot of them, you think about it, man, a lot of them came up. A lot of them came, I hate using this term, but came of age during the whole Occupy thing. Occupy Wall Street. Occupy,
that's a good point, too, yeah.
During these movements. So they're witnessing this. They're witnessing, it's almost like, I want to say this younger, though we were, I just made the whole Tide Pod joke. I will say this, this younger generation, it's kind of like the people who like wanted to stand for justice and like treated them like hippies in the 60s and
that's
the
exactly
70s.
what it is. Yeah.
And that's what they're like.
Yeah,
that's what they see. The people who want to see a shift and a change in social justice and stuff. And that's I obviously wasn't alive back in the 60s and 70s to speak on it at all. But these kids are a lot like that, and
But that makes me even think because it's funny I was gonna say that earlier just because when you look at around the 60s and 70s, you look at how many actual businesses was even created back then. Because like the time period kind of like was okay. It was okay with you kind of doing your own thing, kind of like having long hair and just enjoying yourself.
It was like really relaxing on the early like stricter American culture like standards. Like and that's where it got looser. Disco music. Before that, you had the swing and doo-wop in the 60s, and that really started loosening culture. Rock and roll. Yeah. Like people weren't ready for that, man.
So all the different dances of all the different eras?
Hell no.
Because it's like the history of dance video. He was just with disco and.
No, it's just. But that's the way music went. You think of the way, and you honestly think of it. We could always use music as an analogy. The way, like I could say, we feel, but you hang out with a lot of younger kids, so you probably have to listen to the mumble rap and the.
They listen to everything. I don't think people understand. Like, they listen. Like one day they'll like. He'll send like my guy, like there's a few of them I hang with, but like my guy one day he'll send me something that may be like Trippie Redd, but the next day might be like Noriega. Like they're very the way they listen to music is just. It's
I
just
say that
level.
they listen to music, but they're like it's just because it's targeted at that age group. There are a lot of kids unfortunately grouped in with it. Like let's use MVOE, Vella's little brother and his cousin.
Mikey
like
Vinny.
They're young, Mike and Vinny. Ginger and Vinny. I don't call him. Ginger and Mike. I don't call Vincent by his name, but I always call him Ginger.
You gotta see a picture of him.
But they don't really listen to that music, and that's that's their age, and they don't listen to that shit.
You mean like the early? They don't listen to like who's out now.
Yeah, they don't really listen to these guys out now. They listen to like music you think they were already listening to music. But even like even though Fife does mess with it, look at Fife, like how far back he goes. He's like with us, like how far back we could go with music. Because of our older siblings that put us on, man.
I think the thing that kind of messes up too is because they're a lot more experimentative with things. Like it's funny. Like as I'm 29, I hang out with them and like I like dyed my goatee blonde like not too long ago just because there's one of the things I appreciate with them and I know what I'm trying to do like with the brand like with Trill T. I'm like all right, well the whole premise is to be true to yourself. So everything I do about the brand is like, okay, you being able to live your truth. When you think about people walking back in the day with Starbucks, they felt something. With Trill T, I want them to feel the same thing, but I want them to feel whatever the thing is because people go into their jobs, they go into whatever it is they do, and they can't speak the way they want to speak. They can't maybe dress the way they want to dress. They can't, have their hair the way they want to wear it. So I say that to say hang around the younger generation, it kind of breaks. It's almost like you break the formulaic way you've been raised. Because our generation was definitely, we're getting into that space of like almost, there's something called hypnotic rhythm in a book. It was called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Really good book. But hypnotic rhythm is pretty much
Outwitting the Devil?
Outwitting the Devil.
Outwitting the Devil.
Yeah, it's not a religious book. It's just it's a great read. Y'all should check it out. But something called hypnotic rhythm. And hypnotic rhythm is pretty much, you get to a space where you've been doing something for so long, you can't even break out of it no more. And my thing, I was like, I'm only 29. I'm like, I can't get to that space.
No.
It's scary, man. Like
yeah,
I've told my mom that before. It was scary, like working the job I had previously, to wake up younger, and I'm talking before I hurt my back, 24, 25. And the hours I was working, the time of day I was working, I was like, it sucks at this age to wake up and hate your job. And people, like my mom kept trying to tell me, well, maybe you should go to school. Like, school's not the fucking answer. School's not the answer.
Listen, I went to school 3 times, same school, dropped out all 3 times.
Wow.
Right? In 10 years, well, now it's like closer to 15 years, because it was 2004 I graduated. I worked probably like 55 jobs.
Wow.
So it's not even like I never woke up and hated my job. I hated that I had to have a job. Like, I hated that. I know.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like,
I hated it. All I wanted to do was, play music and be on TV, and I was always doing graphic design and web design, so I could make money off the laptop. But having to get up and go to a temp office and they send you to another place that don't care. Like, I've worked at so many different jobs. You can't tell me that employees are cared for.
yeah, they're not.
Because
I mean,
when-
I got
in
my
corporate
first-
culture, you're just a name on a sheet.
I got my first real dose of that when I hurt my back, man, in the runaround they gave me. Like, I hurt my back here doing my job that I've done for the last, at that point, I've been there 6 years. I've been working for you 6 years here, and I hurt my back doing my job. Not something outside my job. I wasn't goofing off. Like, I hurt my back doing my job. And the runaround I got for that, the bullshit excuse I was given, which was a lie, and which is why I believe I eventually did win. It's like, come on, guys. Like, you're going to lie to me to my face. And that offended me more than anything. You're going to lie to me and say we were mandated to do something, which we were never told, which has never been enforced, and still isn't to this day enforced. And,
But didn't when you hurt your back, we started Bud and Roach?
yeah, I tell people all the time,
Wow.
that had to happen. That's why I tell people, like, that had to happen. I had to hurt my back, because if I didn't hurt my back the day that we initially came with the idea to do that, that was my first day back to work that week.
Yeah.
That was usually my day back to work, Wednesday. We came with the idea on Wednesday, we want to air that next Monday. That Monday that came around, not even a whole week.
Yeah, we got that up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we got the idea Wednesday. I would have been at work that Wednesday for goddamn half price Wednesdays. And just, I'll throw it out there. I worked at Dave & Buster's. I ran the security for a while. Came up doing, started regular, supervisor manager, then had a security. But I dealt with drunk people, man, for, like, that was my work life, just dealing with rowdy drunks, people that don't know how to act, people that feel entitled to stuff. And that wears you down, man.
Yeah.
Like, that wears you down. Like, it beats you down, man.
That's very interesting because like I said, I work with people with Down syndrome, and one of the reasons I work with people with Down syndrome was because I didn't go to school either, and one of the things I paid attention to with, like, just mentors and just people kind of around me was that at that time period there were a couple options if you weren't going to college. Either you worked a job that made you a decent amount of money, but it was not real money, but maybe for that age it was.
For that age, it was good.
But you had no time on your hands, right? Or you were tired all the time, whatever. You only had a couple days off and you were just exhausted. Or I could pretty much choose a job that could pay me like really low money, but I have a lot of time on my hands. And that's why I ended up going to the place with people with Down syndrome, because it was a house you had downtime all day long. And at that point, I picked up actually a love of reading and, like, learning, just literally on the job. Literally, like, I'm talking 8 hours of me just finishing a book, like, just solid in the book. Because these are all adults and they moved around. They were great. Like, everybody was cool. And I worked there for 7 years. And they would keep trying to offer me a management position. I'm like, no, because my freedom. I'm like, I need this so I can configure how, learn myself and how I want to navigate the world and who I want to be, whatever. And I think that like, it's just, the job stuff is.
It's funny.
Do you have a mentor?
Now, not really as much as I used to.
Did you have a mentor?
Yeah, I had a couple. I had one. My first one was I used to work at a sneaker store. My first job was at a sneaker store in Jamaica, in Coliseum.
Didn't hear me, so maybe just say mentor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He had a mentor.
Yeah, I had a mentor. So my first mentor was I had a sneaker store. I used to work at a sneaker store in Jamaica Coliseum Mall, and He worked there. He was like the general manager, and I had managers that were like close. They were like actually my bosses, but I just gravitated toward him, and obviously that's bad in a job where like you're kind of going to that person. But he was, he really kind of like molded me and really taught me like a lot, and just kind of I navigated.
I'm not gonna lie, like I don't think I could say I've ever had a mentor, but if I had to pick, it'd be my first boss out of my first real job at Toys R Us, one of my closest friends, my boy Eric. And we were about separated by maybe 20 years, man. But he's one of my closest friends. Like taught me a lot about life, helped mold me into the adult I am.
Absolutely.
Showed me a lot about the world. And it's weird, like getting like 18-year-old black kid getting along with a 40-year-old Irishman the way I did. And even just hanging out with him and his friends, man, I met so many people because of him. Like people that I still talk to this day, through him. His significant other, even though they're not together anymore, they're friends. It was like, and this is a guy who I never thought, man, in a million years, like, wow, when I first met him, he hired me. Like, wow, he seemed like a little bit of an asshole. And then, like, he seemed like he was like, I don't want to say a tyrant, but I remember walking in the office one time, and he had a girl like massaging his hands, like his knuckles, bro.
Yeah, that's that
like,
Baba Yaga trick.
Like massage another one. Like you have one massage his knuckles, one massage his shoulders.
That's crazy.
It's like, yo, and
I thought I had mentors. I mean, I thought I had more mentors than I did. And it turned out I just had people that really tried to screw me over and were unsuccessful.
Wow.
So if I had any mentor, I'd say it was a guy named Coy. And Coy, when I was straight out of high school, I was always trying to hustle off the laptop. I was always, trying to do something.
Yeah.
So Coy, he introduced me to this guy named Maudi, who was a master graphic designer, and I used to just shadow him all the time. I already knew graphics, but he was like doing it professionally.
Yeah.
He was doing it for, Univision and Fox 5, and he's doing billboard ads.
wait, say that first one again.
Univision.
One more time.
Univision.
Everybody I know just calls it Univision.
This is true. This is true.
My Puerto Rican came out.
Oh man, everybody I know just calls it Univision.
But he was doing boat rides. It was Latin clubs boat rides. And at 18, 19 years old, I'm like doing yacht rides every weekend and going to different clubs, picking up money because we was always doing different after parties. And his business was so brilliant. All he did was develop an email list of like 15, 20,000 emails of people that went to clubs in the city, and clubs would pay him to just email their flyers
That's
out.
incredible. That's
And I used to be in the office when we watching baseball games, and he's just sending out. I just made 1,200. Let's go to the baseball game, and then we'll just go.
incredible.
So to me, and especially because he was Puerto Rican and he was from the place that my family's from, that's why I consider him like he was my mentor.
Yeah, mentors everything. I actually need to get some more now because after launching the business, like I kind of, it's funny. None of my friends actually had businesses, so it was kind of like me jumping out the window. Right? And then nobody can actually, people obviously have their opinions and think, oh, you should do this, whatever. But it's like nobody's like people hadn't actually done it. So mentorship is everything.
And that's like when we got into radio. Everyone had an opinion, but nobody even was close to doing what we was doing.
Yeah, nobody. A lot of people. One of the things too, doing the show, obviously when we started, man, is a lot of people thought we were doing this for a lot longer than we were, man. So they were looking at us like when we told them how long we were doing it, man. Then they started like trying to get in on things, and I thought like it was weird. Like
that was a weird time.
it was we definitely after.
I think one of the worst things we did was we thought I take the blame for this, that there was power in numbers when it came to running a brand, not running a company, running a brand. And we got booked to do an interview in the Bronx. It was this place called Nightline, and we all went out there. And I remember we were sitting in like the waiting area, like the green room, and there's people in there representing our brand, and we had no control over them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was just like we all went as a group. They were our friends.
Wow.
But the way they split it up at the station, I thought everyone was going in at the same time. We went in separately.
Wow.
So they were, and they didn't represent the brand the way we wanted.
Yeah, the way we wanted to, the way we would have.
So we had to like cut a lot of fat.
Absolutely.
That we added. It was just
It was kind of, if I can say it was kind of like if you know a lot about music, rap music. When G-Unit added on like MOP, all the extras, Mace, when they added on all those extras, like when Double XL had that cover, it was 50, and the original guys, and it folded over,
Mhm.
and then had that extra side that folded out with the other. There's like, all right, 50. It's a lot of guys, and you saw what
Absolutely.
happened. They splintered,
Absolutely.
shattered, and it didn't work out the way everyone thought it would. But I definitely think I think it was a learning experience. We had to learn from that. And when it comes to branding, man, you definitely want people, on the same page, clicking. And I think that's why we're doing where we're at now is why we're trending forward, upward. It's because everyone's on the same page. We obviously have people behind us that believe in us, like Danny and Emily, obviously Gates and Fife over at Tri-State. And we're thankful for the people that have come into our lives and believe in us enough to help us keep moving forward. And want to move forward with them. And we had to. Kind of like I just said, I had to hurt my back for, us to have that time for this to happen because I would have been at work that day. We had to have those people around to know we didn't need them around.
It was just, it was part of it. It was part of
part of the learning curve.
What we're gonna include in our Rolling Stone interview one day.
Yes, sir. If Rolling Stone's still around.
if they're still around.
But that's one of the big things I've learned, like working on businesses. It's like a marriage. It's like whoever you're dealing with, your partner.
It is a
marriage. It's a marriage. Like when I started Trilty, it was me and my ex-partner. Like we know each other since junior high school. And then you get a little bit older. You go mentally go separate ways, or whatever. And it's a marriage. So that's tough.
I think that's what's fortunate about Bud and Roach is that I remember there was this one time I'm never gonna forget it, and I don't think we haven't spoken about this in a while. He had came to see me in Williamsburg, where I'm staying, my wife's house. So we hadn't spoken to each other. Not that day. I don't even think the day before. I think it was my brother Chaz that told him he was going to pick him up, whatever, and we were going to meet at the house. We both wore the exact same outfit.
Oh, man. Where's that picture? you saying I know exactly what picture you're talking about.
I have the picture on my laptop. I'll show you.
We need to post that on Throwback Thursday.
It was black sneakers.
It wasn't black sneakers. We both had on black Chucks.
It was black Chucks.
Gray jeans and a black V-neck. And we both had black hats. And we hadn't spoken to each other at all that day.
And we we didn't notice that we were dressed exactly the same until that picture.
Yeah, until that picture. We took
like, what the fuck?
Weren't we going out to an event? We were going to do something that night.
Yeah, I think we were going to
I think we went to the boat ride.
It was a boat ride or Raw.
No, not Raw. We did the show at Bowmore with Ja.
You're right.
And we wore the exact
Ja Poet.
Yeah, the exact same. We gotta get John here, man. I gotta call him.
I feel like that's like a vibrational thing, right? Like, cause me and my ex-partner, we got to this space where you finishing your partner's sentence and everything. Like, you get to this space where you're just kind of in sync. You start looking like each other and stuff. It's crazy.
I have it on my laptop too.
We need that picture. We gotta post that picture for the people, man. That was crazy.
So Chaz, where can people buy Trill Tea and where can they follow you?
They can buy Trill Tea on trilltea.com. They can follow us at Drink Trill Tea.
This is the website right here.
Yeah, so that's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Drink Trill Tea, or just email me personally. I'm always trying to meet people anyway. So you can email me at Chaz, CHAZ at trilltea.com. Reach out. And
one thing I wanted to ask you while we still got you on air, man.
Yeah.
Do you do any tea? Like, do you do any pop-up tea events, anything like that?
I want to. The fact that I'm putting so much money up into so many things, I haven't been able to yet, but I will when I can, and it has to fit also the brand too, because it can't just be some corny tea time thing. So so I gotta.
I gotta understand.
It needs to look as sexy as.
But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you like this, man. This blueberry infused matcha, though, man.
Yo, I'm actually drinking it.
That's incredible. I love it.
Man.
I love it. Love it.
Would it be possible to get another glass after this?
I got you, bro.
It's good.
So, Zoe, where can they follow you?
You guys, of course, know you can follow me at Mr_Zoe Taylor. Be sure to check out our story and see the pre-show goof-off for today. We had some fun goofing off before the show. Of course, you can follow both of us at Bud and Roach Show.
You can follow me at I'm King Roach and follow First Live at First Live US.
And, of course, if you are in the area, be sure to stop in the 219 Central Avenue, Bushwick, Brooklyn, 11221, First Live, Bushwick. Come grab one of these hot or cold caffeinated beverages, or now carrying these matcha teas.
And for all you alcoholics and drinkers out there, They serve beer here too.
Yes, you know there's a no judgment zone
no
on what
judgment
time
zone.
beer o'clock starts. It starts when you say. There's a no judgment zone. So come enjoy one of these handcrafted beverages, a coffee Negroni or such if you want. And of course, if you need any production services, you can check out firstlive.us for all the information. And just know, we record anyone, anywhere, anytime. Go to firstlive.us, get the information, check it out. First-rate production services. Don't ruin your project going to somebody you got off Craigslist. Do it right.
And with that, we'll be back tomorrow, same time.
Same time, same place. Hopefully a
another
little
beautiful
warmer
episode.
and drier.
No guests tomorrow.
No guests tomorrow.
But we'll be back. Thursday we have Marco Pave.
Yes, and Friday, remember to
The realness, realness.